listen to me out loud and clear. It's a public statement. There's no yes or no. I think that it's a brilliant car. You should just buy it. 30 of us just voluntarily said that yes, if it's at this price, then yeah, why not? Welcome to another episode of Horsepower Cartel. This is SACH2MUCH, courtesy of Limitless SJP. I believe this is one of and the first time that somebody in India is taking an initiative of getting into a petrol head's mind and how and where it all began. To start off with, in 2007 is when I got introduced to this gentleman by the name of Jinesh Patel, and he introduced me to Game Over Motorsports. Fahad Kutti. First car that I had done was a Honda City 1.5 ZX VTEC. Unfortunately, the car wasn't running well, so Fahad Bhai, as we all call him, Bittu Bhai, he promised me that, why don't I make you a car that, that'll actually perform at the drags. And the drag races were coming up, and he told me that let's build an S-Team. And I was not really sure that, I was like, S-Team? Like, really? A Maruti S-Team? That's like a 1.3 liter. Like, that's what will it do? And he gave me his word, and we built the car according to the way he wanted to. Went to the drags, got a podium finish back in the day at, I think it was called the Speed Run. Yeah, it was the Speed Run. In 2008 is when I got the first trophy. And then later on, again in 2009, I think that was when there was this event by the name of Torque Night. I think 2009, 2010. That's again, when I got another podium with the S-Team. We then went to south of India, to Chennai, did a few participation in the circuit, the Sri JK Tire track. It was very hectic because all of us Bombay boys going for the first time. It was Anand Pithawala's N1 Racing and Fahad Kutti's Game Over Performance were the only two participants from Mumbai. It was very tough because new boys coming in from a different territory, but again the South people really were kind and very welcoming. They helped us out in whatever ways we needed help. It was very challenging. We went initially for the IJTC, and for 2010, 11, 12 I was going down to the track, and finally in 2012 I just took a setback and I just took a voluntary retirement from motorsports because I got married in 2013, so I was just done with it. And in 2013 then Fahad Bhai and me opened a workshop again by the name of Game Over Motorsports, and which ran for 13-14 months and when I moved on from there, and practically every car that I had in the house was just a diesel. The only petrol car that I had back then, like from 13 till 2015, was a Polo GT TSI. I got introduced to Santi, Limitless SJP, once again in 2017. I chewed his brains and he finally convinced me to buy the VRS. Yes, it was him who convinced me not to buy the Polo GTI, but instead of the GTI he recommended that eyes closed, you should go and buy the Skoda VRS. So when I was deciding between the Polo GTI and the Skoda VRS, very close friend of mine, Manan Patel. Again, I respect him a lot, for his knowledge in cars and practically anything that has a moving gear. He recommended that, because of power to weight ratio, just blindly buy the GTI. I managed to get my hands on one test drive GTI from downtown Volkswagen. I was just not really happy because my driving style is a little hard. So when I used to just tap the brake at just the speed limit, the tail used to give off. And it was a little unsettling for me to buy that car. Then when I spoke to Santosh once again, he just convinced me that, even though that there's no VRS available for test drive, just go by his word, and I did, and I am so glad I did. And finally I bought the VRS, the Nardo Grey, which is actually a steel grey, but everybody calls it the Nardo Grey color. And it was a slow build process. So the build started actually was because when I bought the car, I told myself and everybody around me that I'm going to keep the car stock. Again, like I got introduced to all the VRS boys. There's a WhatsApp group which is very engrossing, and there are at least 200 to 600 messages in a day. Really technical, and everybody on the group is really helpful. I met a good buddy and made a very good friend of Chirag Kapadia over there, who's helped me build the entire VRS. Again, with the help of Anand Pitawala from N1 Racing. Without him, it couldn't have been possible. So one afternoon, I was just chatting with this friend of mine called Samir, Sam Strikes. He just told me that, next week, they're loading the cars, they're going to the track. So I said, which track are you going to? That kid in me, nostalgia just came and, it just sparked. He told me that they're going to the BIC, and I said, okay, I've never driven with my own car at the BIC. I've gone for a few events, like Audi events, where I've driven the R8 V10 Plus and the S4 and the TT, but never had the opportunity to take my own car and drive at the BIC. So through Samir, I got introduced to Damandeep. It was his track day which was organized by him through Throttle 97. It was a very fun track day, and unfortunately the conditions weren't really right. It used to rain on and off on both the days that we were there. From my previous knowledge and experience, I bought a spare set of wheels with slick tires which were given to me as handy from Anand. So it was a joke, amongst all the friends that, whenever I changed from Michelin PS4 to slick tires, it starts raining, and again I have to go back to Michelin PS4. So everybody, as a joking banter on the track, just told me that please Sachit, don't put on your slicks. Whenever you do, it just starts pouring. And coincidentally, yeah, that was what was happening. So the first time that I went to the track at the BIC with the VRS, the best time that I could achieve was a 2 minute 39 second, and it was kind of a wet track. It wasn't dry at all. So when I came back, I was a little heartbroken that, my car is not really what I had it in my mind. And slowly, steadily, I started building the car. So when I went to the track, from stock to stage to incomplete, it was built in about 4 days, courtesy of Anand. And once I was back, then, Anand really guided me and said that, why don't we put better brakes? So, okay, big brake kit was ordered from this company called Forge. Why don't we put better brake pads? So Aditya Prabhu was using Paget on his M5 and he was really happy. I said, okay, why don't we try Paget brake pads? And when I ordered those Pagets, Anand just lost his mind after looking at the price. He said, I will not order this. If you want, you can order it from somewhere else. This price doesn't justify. It's too expensive. I can't sell something so expensive to a customer. Coming midway, Anand finally ordered it and my car was running with that. And then later on, in the second time that I went, I was running better suspension, which was from KW. It was the KW street stock. Apart from that, then we were running bigger turbos, which was the IS38. That time we managed, the best was a 221, which was the fastest that a front wheel drive has ever gone at the BIC. It couldn't have been possible without all the friends like Siddharth, Sahil, Aditya, Pawan. Pawan has really helped me in getting the right wheel size to what is the best tire that the car would handle in, finalizing and narrowing it down to the BBS RIA, which are a one-piece forged wheels. Lalit bhai, big shout out to you for making sure that I get the wheels in my hand at the perfect price and at the right time, so that the car is ready for the track. 221 was like an unbelievable dream, like coming from 239 to 221, that's like millennia on the track. Later on, when the third time I took the car to the track, that time we had an LSD by Quaif, which again did the magic, and we dropped down the timing from 221 to 219. It's the fastest production car front wheel in India till date. So, like how all petrol heads, we always discuss that, like I like this car, I like that car. Once in, 2019, a friend of mine, who's again a very big petrol head, had this idea that, why don't we all make a group buy and import the M2 competition manual, if it is possible. Instantly, like within a week, about 30 odd, all of us, who know practically, like everybody knows each other in the circle. 30 of us just voluntarily said that yes, if it's at this price, then yeah, why not? We can definitely get down 30 cars. After doing the working back and forth, and trying his level best with the concerned authorities, he finally got a negative reply saying that, it is definitely not going to be possible. And one day in the afternoon, I clearly remember, it was in November, when the state calls me up in the afternoon on a Sunday and says that, what, there's a brilliant M2 coming up. If you want, go on Monday and make sure that you buy it. There's no yes or no. I think that it's a brilliant car. You should just buy it. And Monday I went, and I think we just took about a few hours, and we finalized, courtesy of Infinity Motors in Mumbai, that I got my hands on the M2. It was delivered perfectly fine and sparkling clean in the month of December. So for the month of December, I was just driving around down in the M2. This was in 2019. I realized that, I am not giving enough time to the VRS and it's not the right thing that I am doing. A few friends had approached me when I just bought delivery of the M2, like asking me that if you're interested, I would definitely be keen on buying the car, because everybody had seen, that I was a fanatic when it came to maintenance of the car and making sure every part is running right and putting all the best parts available in the market. No cheap corners, no cutting corners at all. I met this really nice guy at the karting track by the name of Mihir. Really great karter, excellent guy, beautiful nature. He met me and he said that I don't mind buying the car, but I don't mind spending more than this. We both settled on a price in like a matter of 15 minutes. We shook hands and I just had one condition that it was the month of January in 2020, and I told him that the only condition that I'm giving you this car is because Throttle 97 has these two big drives every year. Once is on the 26th of January and once is on the 15th of August. So I told him that you have to come with the car at the ceremony that Damandeep really hosts, because I want the car to be there. So he agreed and he was there with the car, and I think it's not the best decision in my life that I have made, but I still miss giving up the ownership of the VRS, and I think that maybe I should get it back someday. And yes, I have called dibs on that car first, that whenever Mihir, you listen to me out loud and clear, it's a public statement. Whenever you're selling it, please let me know about it.
Sachit, your first initial years of racing on the street with all the boys.
I have never raced on the street.